world's biggest film events and talk to some of the industry leaders and working pros across every department of independent film and television to find out what it's really like. The Hub is a weekly in-depth chat about all things film and television. What movies are featuring at the upcoming GMA Awards ceremony, past winners, premieres, nominees, red carpet gossip, career advice, and insider info to help you better prepare for a career in the film industry. You're listening to The Hub, your weekly fix for all things film and television, and some other stuff. Hosted by Jason Matthewson.
Indeedy. Welcome along, everyone. This is the 7th live broadcast, but it'll be episode number 9 in Series 1, which has just gone live as of yesterday. You guys can get it on all the major platforms, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and the video element of it, of course, is live as well via YouTube. That brings us on to today's episode. We're going to be talking to a very good friend of mine, actor, director, all-around bad guy, and all-around awesome dude at the same time. Everyone, please welcome Sean Cronin. Buddy, how's things? You good?
Hello, how I am. I've got my special WAR phone as well. I've got the Chihuahua phone in case we have bad reception. It's an amazing phone, this, because when Steve Jobs died, they invented the WAR phone. This has got MPW, POSB, yellow tooth, and the battery lasts 2 days. So that's Konnichiwa. So hi guys.
Some things never change. Love it. Things are good, man. How are you? How's your lockdown been? Are you losing your marbles yet? I am.
No, the great thing is, ironically, I'm editing a feature film, so all it's done is make me stay home and get on with the movie. You know, I've got muscles now. I never used to have them. I've been working out in the garden, drinking a case of red wine a week. Not it's only 6 bottles a week. I have 1 day off. I try and have Mondays off. So, I actually have a glass of wine and a cigarette in my hand while I'm working out. So, you detox and you retox at the same time.
It's like a very strange poster.
Yeah. That would be a weird poster, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So, I'm editing a wonderful feature film, Give Them Wings, the true story of Paul Hodgson, who was contracted childhood meningitis at 5 months old and was told he would never move or speak, or his parents were told that. He's now 55 years old, an award-winning producer, writer, an all-round funny man. He's a very funny guy. And when I first met Paul, I directed a film back in the day called An Unfortunate Woman, true story of Kathleen Mumford, who smothered her own child in 1938 because the child was so disabled, blind, deaf, inert, couldn't move. And she killed him in a mercy killing, and it was ultimately commuted to a mercy killing. But I first met Paul, and Paul, he's very disabled. But the first thing he said, he goes, "I can't move much, but I can hold a bloody pint." And he's a funny guy. And
Priorities.
It's a really beautiful story, and it's like a 85% reality with a little bit of artistic license. But it's one of those human interest stories, like My Left Foot, Billy Elliot, The Untouchables we spoke about earlier on. And it's a sort of film that's going to touch hearts and minds. And, I think quite a few of our investors are online today.
Oh, great.
Gail and Roy and the people that put the money in. Thank you, guys. Thanks so much. Because, independent, we'll talk a little bit about it in a minute. But, independent film is what it's all about now. And content will be king. So, anyway, you ask away.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously it's your film, but again, I just want to say thank you indirectly for myself as well to your investors, because it's not always the easiest thing to get an independent film financed, and these investors have to take, for the most part, a lot of the time, a punt. So thank you for doing that, because I totally agree with you, buddy. Independent film is where it's at. I think it's the future. Even before Corona, I think it was the future of certainly anything you'd want to spend any time watching, anything that would jog your brain. And I mean, it's fine, okay, look, we can go and sit down in the cinema and watch Superman fly around the place, or Iron Man shoot up some city or something, whatever. But that's one thing.
Well,
if you want anything else, it's in the end of it.
Came on there. What's happened is the cinema has gone.
Mm-hmm.
For the foreseeable future, there will be no cinema. Physical DVD sales, as I mentioned earlier, are down by 75%. VOD has literally quadrupled. So the cinema has moved into people's living rooms.
Mm-hmm.
So content is king. And also what's very interesting is that because also for the short term, it's going to be a very slow back to work for the film industry. So there's going to be no product really turned out for the next 3, 6, potentially even 12 months, depending on how social distancing plays out. So the people that have got films in the can, like we're so lucky, we've shot 99.9% of Give Them Wings. I played the lead villain in, I think, 3 or 4 movies last year. I did an amazing movie called Rendel. I think our director's online watching here. Rendel 2 by Jesse Hadger. And amazing. It's Batman meets James Bond meets Deadpool. It's a few million budget. Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant production value, an incredible film. That's in the can. I play the lead villain in that. And the irony is, the villain that I play owns a huge pharmaceutical company, it's called the Valor Corporation. And they're a big drugs company. And guess what? The company's invented a cure for the common cold.
Really?
And this is way before Corona, and it's not really to do with, it's a big sort of super villain because, I'm a horrible villain. I kill children and stuff. I killed a kid.
This is a rough one, right? Even for you, this is a rough one. I said, even for you, this is a rough film in its content. I mean, you're like, I haven't seen it obviously yet, but I know you're off in, was it Sweden you done it, or Denmark? Finland.
For about a month, and it's probably the biggest role I've ever played. I'm on every page. I'm Scaramanga in GoldenEye. I'm, I think it was View to a Kill with Christopher Walken. I'm the main guy. I'm on every single page. So, the costumes. I had all these incredible suits and the sets and the character Rendel is kind of like Batman without ears. It's Deadpool. It's got a lot of humor. It's quite funny as well. But the way that it's only I think it's a 5 million budget, but it looks like a 50 million.
Yeah, I got your pictures.
The DOP on it, director of photography, Tero, I can never spell his surname, Finnish. I fell in love with his work on the set, and I nicked him, and I brought him over to shoot Give Them Wings. And with Give Them Wings, every frame is a Rembrandt. It's beautiful.
Wow.
So yeah, and I did another film last year called Election Night, which was trying to get out. My buddy Ben Pickering and a great friend of mine, Neil Monaghan's the director. And basically, there's a load of yuppies in a house in Notting Hill, and they're all watching the election. And it looks like the right's going to get in, the far right. I knock on the door under the auspices of looking for shelter for me and my girlfriend, who I've incidentally bottled over the head, so she looks ill enough. And we go in there, and we have a lot of kind of political debates. And then, of course, I kill everybody, as you do,
As you do, yeah.
I did another film called Safeguard, where I played the hit of the Russian mafia. Not very nice. I like your balloons. You don't like your balloons. It's all set around London and extortion. A guy called Fraser Precious. Fraser Precious was an interesting guy because he was a homeless trumpet player that kind of was living on the streets, playing his trumpet and stuff. And then ultimately he's managed to fight his way back off the streets, and now he's doing quite well as a producer, director. So I did that. I got Rendel, that one, Election Night, and of course, Give Them Wings, which is, I've directed a lot of stuff, and this is my most important work. I directed a film a year and a half ago, co-directed a film called 11.
Yeah, that was the war film, right?
Yeah, about the last hour of the First World War. We shot it for, I think it was 80 grand, the whole budget, And imagine Sam Mendes is 1917. Well, our budget was probably their breakfast budget for one day.
Wow.
It's a lovely little film. We released it on the day before Armistice Day, 100 years after the end of conflict. So that's already out there as well. So, I'm very lucky. I've got content. Lockdown happened. And the only thing I'm not doing is I'm not acting on set. I'm not taking the kids to school, which is great. I haven't got to do the school run anymore. But I'm here literally editing the movie. Also, I've been doing, I've been wearing this daily.
Ooh, nice. I like that.
Because a friend of mine, Gil, is a great TV producer, and he asked me to become admin on a COVID-19 UK support group. So we've got about 3,000 or 4,000 members, and everybody locally just looks. I've got about 5 or 6 elderly people that live in my kind of cul-de-sac, and we go shopping for those guys.
That's nice.
Pick up medicine for them and stuff. And then some of the people that are in their 90s. And I keep checking on them as well, because there's one guy over the road who likes to drink a bit too much. Yeah. So every couple of days, I just make sure he's still alive, bless him. So been doing an awful lot of that. So I've been a kind of little bit of a a Robin Hood, trying to help people. Also been campaigning for other various, for trials on drugs that are not being used, because my ex girlfriend is a doctor, and there's things that she knows that we all really ought to know. But this is a film blog, so I won't talk about that too much. But yeah, so anyway, so those are the 4 films I've been working on. Obviously 11, so I've got 5 films in the can.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very lucky. I'm blessed that I can sit here and finish my movie and hopefully get it ready for the new online Cannes Film Festival. So
Yeah.
the Cannes Film Festival has been running. This would have been the 73rd year, and it's now, even up to 5 weeks ago, they were going, it's going to go ahead. We're going to move it till July. Of course, that's become impossible. So now it's gone online, which is great, because I've now got till the end of May to finish the movie. So, if I'll just show you guys quickly here. So I'm going to turn the phone around a little bit, put my spectacles on. I go from being a dodgy old villain to becoming an intellectual type director that I can actually now see. So here we've got the edit of, don't give too much away.
Oh, inside scoop. Love it.
Going on there pretty much full time. So I'm very lucky. So I hope there's some other people that are as lucky as us. But I want to go quickly back to this, what's happening with cinema. So 75% decrease in physical, which means DVD sales. Now, that's partially because the supermarkets literally are so worried about getting eggs and wipes and toilet roll that they've stopped putting new content on the shelves. I got that directly from a gentleman at Ford Intermediate, Tony Tagliente, a great guy, a great distribution company. But in America, it's only gone down by about 10%. It's only dipped by about 10%. So it's still fairly strong DVD sales. But globally, VOD is where it's at now. And because a lot of people can go via, you can go directly to Amazon and Sky and iTunes and Google Play. And potentially, if you pass QC, quality control, you can get your films on those platforms. The trick with getting movies on those platforms is letting everybody in the world know that they're there. So that's why I'm hoping to go with someone like Tony or a distributor like that, who has a great network to get it, because everybody can make a wonderful film, but if nobody knows you've made it, there's no point. So
exactly,
we can all reach our following on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, but you need, as long as everybody in the world knows your product is online, then you have a good chance of, making a profit and being able to keep independent film live. Because, a lot of people, cinema had even gone to the point where it was really very much just, the big blockbusters to get, or the big studio films to get in there anyway. And to be honest, I like the fact that I can, have a glass of red, have a smoke, and watch a movie in my home.
Yeah.
So that's where I think film's going at the moment. It might come back, but I think it's going to be a long time before we see crowded cinemas again.
I do. I think you're absolutely right. I feel like the theaters and cinemas and so on, we will be the last to get back to work because of just the nature of what we do, and it's big events and even just the cinema, it's a bunch of people in a big room. So I think we'll be the last to get back, and people will always look toward the arts as something that's not really a valuable contribution in society. I think I hope they now see that that's in fact that's wrong.
That's a funny thing you should say there, Jay, because what people are now going, I don't want to see premieres, I don't care about celebrities, we care about the NHS, we care about key workers, and they're right. One thing that I've always said is that you get this arrogance with actors and big celebrities. I was developing a film about Michael Watson. I was trying to get Samuel L. Jackson to play Don King. The arrogance that I was faced with by his agent, and he wanted 750 grand plus his entire entourage from LA, 5-star hotels, and all he was going to say was one line: "You made a believer out of me." That's all he was going to say. And the agent gave me hell. What we are the entertainment. So when the policemen, the nurses, the doctors, the firemen, the important or the hard workers get home from their incredibly difficult shift. I had Ahmed Shah's just come online, a friend of mine. Ahmed, just quickly, Ahmed, here's your jacket in the back here. This is an amazing jacket made by Ahmed.
Ooh, I like that. That's very cool.
He makes amazing clothes. So I thought I'd hang that on my camera. So we are the entertainment. So when those guys come back after a horrible day, stressful, putting out fires, doing what they have to do, they sit down and we take them away from reality. We give
Absolutely.
them some escapism. So we are important. We're important for sanity. We are the entertainment, but we are not more important than anybody else.
Hmm.
And all this arrogance and celebrity, I think will take I think this will have taken the wind out of its sails. I mean, I think when I came to one of your Gold Movie Awards, I think
Hmm.
I told you that I'd actually accidentally sexually harassed Harvey Weinstein. Now, he's a very arrogant man, but I was at a party, the Terminator 3 party, at Pierre Cardin's Bubble Mansion in Théo-sur-Mer. And Harvey Weinstein, at that time, the biggest movie mogul in the industry, was due to come along. And I knew his wife, Georgina, and a couple of other people. They said, look, we'll get you an intro to Harvey. Anyway, somebody has put 0.5 gram of MDMA in my gin and tonic. I didn't even know it was in there. Someone had slipped something in my drink. So anyway, finally, when Harvey turns up, I'm so loved up that I'm going, Harvey, me! And I put my tongue in his ear, and I had to be physically removed from the party. And that was like 15 years ago. But and I had long hair then. I subsequently met Harvey Weinstein about a year before his downfall. And he didn't recognize me, I don't think. Anyway, I got talking to him. I gave him my business card, and he threw it on the floor and walked away. He was an arrogant motherfucker. I cannot describe what an asshole this man was. And, but then a juxtaposition to that, I was working with Tom Cruise. I was on that for nearly a month, even for my 3-minute scene in the middle of Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom gets a lot of bad press. He was the loveliest guy I have ever met. He was so sweet.
Yeah, I've met him a couple of times too. He's such a nice guy.
He's really nice. And one day I noticed, because there was a couple of craft stations you could walk, Leavesden's a big studio, so I have to walk. They only had filter coffee on the main catering stand, and I had to walk to the other side, to the back lot, to the craft services to get a proper espresso. So I jokingly complained to Tom Cruise. I said, Tom, there's no decent coffee, on the catering. The next day, I had an Italian coffee stand outside my trailer. My exclusive coffee stand.
Wow.
And it's weird because what happens in the film business, the more successful you become, the more fans you get, but the more people that don't like you. You get a lot of people that are jealous, you get haters.
Of course.
And we were talking about it because I've got a few trolls, not only a handful, but he had an agency and a legal team that manage the people that hate him. He's got 50,000 trolls that hate him. They all manage, So Tom's a really lovely guy. Gets bad press. I mean, every single casting crew screening, he was there. He thanks everybody. He probably goes out of his way because he got such bad press.
The guy's a movie-making machine. Like, he's such a nice guy. He's a machine.
Amazingly friendly. He's got time. I mean, there was a rumor that when I first got on, I was an extra on one of a film he was in years ago. I mean, when you're a proper role, you're allowed to make eye contact. But I was being told, you can't look at Tom Cruise. And it was total bullshit. He was a lovely guy. And I've worked with some lovely guys. I've worked with Daniel Craig, Pierce Brosnan. I've worked with some, but for the most part, they're really nice people. The one actress, when I first, I mean, you want to do your what, when, and where thing. We'll do that.
I do, yeah. I want to skip back because these are all amazing stories. So I want to let you talk. But obviously, I mean, I've known you for 10 years now. Anyway.
And then I'm going to tell you this one story about the most arrogant actress I've ever worked with. But I'll tell you that when we do the what, when, and where because it kind of fits in with it. So you go.
Okay. All right. Well, then we're going to do the 3 W's then, and it's when, where, and why. And that is, I primarily asked it to the performers specifically, but anyone within the arts really. But it's more relevant to the performers. So, when, where, and why did the creative bug bite you, and what was that? It may not have been an actor at that time. It may have been, it could have been catering. Who the hell knows? And you ended up as an actor. Like Ian Beattie started off in the circus, literally.
Well, here we go. I mean,
literally.
I studied catering. I'm a qualified chef. I did 3 years. Thames Valley University.
Good guess.
I was a cook. I worked with Marco Pierre White. Then I've owned nightclubs. I used to own the second biggest nightclub in the West End, where I became a real gangster. One of the biggest crime families in the world were my business partners. I won't mention their names because they'll probably come and kill me. But then what happened? I was in a rock band called the Marionettes for 20 years.
Indeed.
I did world tours with Pearl Jam, Nirvana, all kinds of stuff. So I was always a creative, and I still write songs. In fact, I'm going to do a little live acoustic concert, because I still have quite a big fan base, because we were a kind of goth metal band.
Mm-hmm.
But how I got into film, I was walking down the Portobello Road, doing my evil face, and someone said, "You look really evil. Do you want to be in The Mummy?" And she was a talent scout. So I found myself.
This is the Brendan Fraser mummies back in the day.
Yeah, I found myself painted gold from head to foot, my pubes, my legs, my eyebrows shaved, wearing a nappy. And I walked onto this set, and the $200 million set down at Shepperton Studios, the first Mummy with Brendan Fraser. And I walked in, and they built ancient Egypt. I'm going, whoa! And they literally built Egypt. There was pyramids. It was incredible. And I just thought, I want to do this. And I got the bug, and I was literally wearing a nappy for a month, painted gold. And I was, you get green spots. And I told you a little joke earlier on, but there was a lady, Rachel Weisz, was on set. She's the lead actress in it. And I'd come out of the mummy, the priest room, because I was a glorified extra at that point. And I've come out and I've seen her looking super fit walking down the corridor. And I've sort of gone, whoa, look, it's Rachel Weisz. And her boyfriend, Neil Morrissey, was behind me. He said, "You leave my girlfriend alone." I said, "Sorry, man, I want my mummy." But, so, and then I got a little part, still doing extra work. I got a part on Harry Potter, but they were always kind of walk-ons, featured extra work. Then I got a part on James Bond, The World Is Not Enough.
Mm-hmm.
And again,
with Brosnan, right?
Not quite a proper role, but it was like what you call a walk-on or a feature.
Mm-hmm.
And we did this one scene set in Turkey, and I had to hold Denise Richards round the waist for a week.
Not a bad day. Not a bad week, actually.
She didn't say hello to me once.
Really?
No,
oh, wow.
She was so stuck up. And I'm working with, Pierce Brosnan. Who,
I mean, if you have to put up with Charlie Sheen every day, fuck.
I did it every day. And I'd go, hello. And she just go. But then another funny thing happened. So anyway, two funny things happened on that. So one day I'm on set and Goldie was on it. Remember Goldie with the gold teeth?
Oh, yeah.
Drum and bass guy. Anyway, it's about 6:30 at night. He goes, we're not going to get used. He goes, do you fancy having a spliff? I said, look, I really shouldn't. I might be on set. They might call me. He goes, nah, man, it's 6:30. No one's going on set now. I said, all right, go on then. So anyway, we had a little puff on this joint. And he's gone suddenly through the tannoy. Sean Cronin, A stage. I'm like, fuck! I'm completely off my tits. Anyway, so I put my gun on the wrong way round. I put my jumper on inside out. And I've run to the set. I've seen what I thought was Denise Richards, right? So I've gone up, grabbed who I thought was Denise Richards round the waist, and it wasn't. It was Sophie Morceau. So I grabbed her. I've got a similar haircut. And Michael Apted, the director, he goes, Sean, will you please put the lead actress down? It's the wrong one. Terribly sorry, but And then costume came in, put my gun right on, put my jumper around the right way. And another funny thing that happened on that, Pierce Brosnan, between takes, was always playing backgammon. And, I'm still only an extra at this point. This is the beginning of my career. And I'm trying to drum up the courage to say, look, because I'm really good at backgammon. My father taught me to play backgammon when I was a little boy. So I've gone up to him. I said, look, excuse me, Mr. Bond, but I'm going to kick your ass. And anyway, he's going, yeah, whatever. Anyway, about 3 days later, he's gone, come on in. And we sat down between takes and we played a game of backgammon. And I beat him by 1 point.
Nice.
My claim to fame is I've beaten James Bond at backgammon. But again, he was a lovely man. He'd only recently lost his first wife to cancer. He was a big smoker. In fact, him and Robbie Coltrane smoked all my fags on a daily basis. And I'm on extra money and they're getting millions and I provide the cigarettes. So that was it. And I kind of, then I did a bit of Star Wars. But then people kept saying, Sean, you've got such a dodgy look. You should become don't do extra work. So I stopped doing extra work in about 2001. And started doing, got a proper agent.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in 75 or 80 movies now. I've died in every single one. I used to die in the first 10 seconds, but now, as I'm getting older and more evil, I die at the end, so I get paid more.
Well, that's awesome.
And the other thing about why, so that was the when. And then what happened, when you're on these big sets, in the old days, on Bond and The Mummy, you could smoke. And you could hang around on set. So I would sit around on set, and all the other extras would be sitting out the back waiting for their, where the sandwiches are. But I would very quietly sit behind the DOP or behind the director with my cup of tea and just watch how they did it. There was a wonderful DOP called Adrian Biddle, One of the, I mean, God rest his soul, he died at 53.
Wow.
One of the, he did some of the mummies and the Bonds, a brilliant director of photography.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to sit and watch. Come on, bring your cat. Come on, Georgie, quick. My daughter wants to come in. She's got a cat.
Oh, come in, say hi to us.
I would sit and watch these guys and look, and you look at the set and you think, well, it doesn't look that great, and then you creep behind and you look at the monitor and you see how they transformed it and how the lighting. And remember, in those days they were shooting on 35 or 70 mil, so
actual like, film, yeah.
Like nowadays, you go, oh, don't worry about it, we'll fix it in post. In those days, you didn't fix it in post.
Mm-hmm.
You got it right on the day. What you shot was baked onto celluloid.
Mm-hmm.
It's never going to be, you know what I mean? So it had to look brilliant. And that's kind of where I learned to like. And then I started getting bigger and bigger roles, and, you know, and then I got the bug to start, you know. What was the next? So that was the when. That's how I started. What was the next one?
And the why.
Well, the why was just like seeing this and how amazing it is.
But prior to you going into the Mummy and seeing this whole other world and seeing this magical world of well, in that case it was Egypt. Before doing that, before getting spotted on Portobello Road, what was in your head? Like, what was it that you envisaged your future to be, your career wise, before you took that?
I was a musician for many years. I mean, we toured the world 7-8 times. We made 4 albums. Sorry. You know, that was an amazing experience. But 2 of my band members are now dead because there was a lot of drugs, a lot of drinking, a lot of partying hard. I was always the vain one because I was a singer. So these guys would party after every show. I would party after every other show because I had to try and look good.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent literally 15 years in the back of vans eating road. But It was great. We used to love doing the writing the songs and doing the albums. We used to make an album in a different country every year, which was really great fun. But if I hadn't left the band, I would be dead because it was so hard. And you see how a lot of wonderful musicians have died so young. It's the pressure of fame. We weren't famous, but we were big. We were number 2 in Germany, number 7 in the States. So, you know, I can still play a show in Germany and 10 or 15,000 people will show up. So whenever I get really, really broke, I go, right, just do a reunion gig.
Boss of David Hasselhoff.
Bass player. I took them out of their graves, put a bit of makeup on them. And then I kind of stopped doing that. Then I bought an old-fashioned vinyl record pressing plant. I was pressing records. So I had a recording studio and I was pressing records for other bands. And I bought this old vinyl pressing plant, which is an amazing experience, a proper old record press.
Mm-hmm.
And that went bust because of the internet and stuff. So I was doing that for about 5 years and making a lot of money, actually, while vinyl was still relevant. But obviously it's now only
it's actually now it's making a comeback.
Well, the weird thing was we were doing a lot of collectible stuff and reissues, and it was really great. And the reason I bought it, I was pressing records with all Jamaican staff, and Carmelita, who used to run it. She goes, Sean, I can't pay my VAT bill. She's got crap Jamaican accent. She goes, I don't want to do it anymore. And she was like 70. I can't. You want my factory? She said, you pay my VAT bill, you can have the factory. And it was like, I think it was about 8 or 10 grand was the VAT bill for the pressing plant. So I paid the bill. Suddenly I owned this pressing plant. And it was run by, there were 7 Jamaican guys. There were 7 Jamaican guys running it. And there was one guy, do you remember the Indian out of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
The big Indian guy.
Mm-hmm.
There's one Jamaican guy called Noel there. He was like 6'7", and he looked exactly like this guy. And anyway, I had 6 or 7 presses in the factory. And to move them, they're 2.5 tons to move. But occasionally you have to move them and clean the lines and do the maintenance. And this guy, his hands were like this. And I'd say, Noel, I said, how are we going to move these machines? He goes, don't worry. And he would cuddle them. I took the bolts out of the floor and he would hug the machine and just move it.
Jesus.
And he was a giant. He was so funny. And I kept that factory going for 8 years. And eventually I was in terrible financial trouble. The landlords kept locking me out because I couldn't pay the rent because vinyl took a major dip.
Oh, yeah.
And I kept it going just to keep these guys employed because that's all they knew. They pressed in this plant for 35 years. And I desperately tried to keep them employed. Eventually, it went tits up. And luckily, I managed to find places in other factories that were still managing to keep going. I managed to re-employ them elsewhere. But so I did that. And then I got sucked into this nightclub thing. And I had these two crazy partners. And we had 5 floors of this college in central London. And it took 3,500, 4,000 people. We had a main room which took 1,500. We had this room called the Rotunda, VIP room with stained glass window ceilings, chaise lounge. We had cigar smoking, oak panelled leather sofa rooms.
Sounds really nice.
That for 5 years, and the other two partners sort of fell away, and I ended up owning the second biggest nightclub in the West End on my own for 5 years.
Jesus. Okay.
And it was mental. It was crazy. And again, you know, I would sit in my office because I had 11 bars, 40 bar staff. I had cameras over every bar, so I would sit getting twatted in my office, watching all these cameras, watching people nick from me. And eventually, but I was doing that for years, and I was getting so twatted. I'm amazed I'm still alive. It is a miracle. And then luckily, it sounds crazy, but one day, I'm in Spain. I had a villa in Spain. I'm on holiday, and I get a phone call from my 7'3" Latvian doorman. We have a problem in the nightclub. My other 7'3" Latvian doorman had been shot in the testicles on the door and had his right bollock blown clean off. Anyway, so I've flown back from Spain to try and sort out this mess. And they've taken away temporarily my public entertainment license. So I've suddenly got a 4,000 capacity club with a restaurant license. Before I had it to 6 a.m., I had a 3 a.m. public entertainment and then a 5 a.m. membership license. So we could keep it open all night. So suddenly they've suspended my license for a month. So, you know, I weathered it. We did a few corporate events. We came back online. Anyway, this time I'm in the office. The same guy comes back, shoots him in the bollocks again.
No!
Like, blows his bollock clean off, right off. Anyway, so I'm in
What the fuck did this do? What did this bouncer guy do? That's Jesus.
No, he just got his bollock blown. I mean, he's still dormant now. He's got one bollock, you know.
Fuck.
Bless him. And luckily, he didn't hit the other bollock. He still got he got shot in the same bollock twice. He got one hole in his leg and one bollock. Anyway, so
Jesus.
They then permanently suspended my entertainment license. So, and do you know what? It was the happiest day of my life. I got my car keys, my phone, not my car keys, the club keys, my phone, put them through the letterbox of the club, and left, and never went there again. And I'm so glad because I was making, I mean, the rent was 1.6 million a year. Our average take on a Saturday night was £250,000 quid. It was huge, massive club.
Mm-hmm.
It was 1,500 quid to sit down. But,
wow.
you know, so I didn't want to do that anymore. And that was at the point, just as that was happening, is when I got spotted in the Portobello Road. So it kind of serendipity. And I went from making shitloads of money to doing a bit of extra work and being absolutely broke. But the funny,
but being happy, I bet.
I'll finish the club story very quickly. So anyway, when we closed the club, I owed the security firm 150 grand, and it was owned by a guy called Mal Barter, big, massive 7-foot Australian geezer. And he kept trying to contact me saying, look, sure, I know the club's closed, but I want my money. I said, I can't give it to you. There's no club anymore because I want my money, man. A year. So I went and hid on a boat in Kew for a year. Just sort of kept a low profile. And anyway, I decided to set up a recording studio and start doing editing and started doing film stuff because I still had the recording studio. I still had all the equipment from before. So I've set up this recording studio in Notting Hill. And I've advertised that I'm having a little launch party, canapes. I get a phone call from Mal going, I'm coming to your party, mate. I'm going to fucking kill you.
That's the big Australian geezer.
I'm going, no, I'm going to get killed. He goes, you give me my 150 grand or I'm going to take all your gear and I'm going to shoot you. Anyway, I'm shitting my pants.
Damn.
So I've gone, funnily enough, that day to go and buy some serviettes and some plates from John Lewis in Oxford Street.
Mm-hmm.
I've spotted Mal Barter's wife, right, in John Lewis wearing a polka dot dress. So anyway, he phoned me later on. Again, we're coming. I said, mate, I'm outside your house and I can see your wife wearing a blue polka dot dress. I'm going to blow her fucking head off. And I never heard from him again because I happened to bump into her and he believed me. Anyway, roll on 10 years. Roll on 10 years. Right, I'm in a club called the Cabaret Club in Golden Square. I'm at the bar, leaning at the bar like this. I look behind me, and there's a 7'3" Australian there. And I'm, fuck, it's him! And suddenly, it was 10 years later, and he said, I told him the story about me faking that I was outside his house. And we actually became good friends, and he let me off in the end. I mean, the guy was huge. He could have killed me with one fist. He was a big buddy of mine, a friend of mine on I don't know if you know Martin Ford. He's a big bodybuilder guy. His mouth was like that. He was a giant. So he could have just crushed me. I'm 6'2". He could have crushed me with one hand.
That's crazy.
But then I got discovered. I got done my silly evil face, and I ended up in the Mummy, and just really got the bug. And I've been lucky because a lot of people make movies part-time, but somehow or other, because I studied cinematography, I learned online, I watched all these DOPs, and I started shooting music videos, and I made 25 short films that I would never show to anybody because they're so crap. But you always start somewhere, and I just got better and better and better at doing it, and learn. Every time you make a movie, you make mistakes, and you learn from those mistakes. So I kind of got the bug. So I'm lucky. I'm either editing, DOPing, directing, or acting, and out of those four things, I actually make a reasonable living. I'm not a rich guy, but I make a decent living. I get enough money to smoke and drink loads of Rioja, which is the most important thing. And I'm a single mother. I brought 2 girls up from birth, so that also keeps you on the straight and narrow, having 2 little kids. Very quick story. So to all the viewers out there that don't know how I got this, see this?
Scar just above your left eye, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, their mum, they were 1 and 2 years old, and she asked me for a pair of. She was Polish German. She goes, "Oh, I've lost my confidence. Can you buy me a pair of fake boobs?" So I bought her a pair of fake boobs. Didn't see her for dust. She's buggered off with someone else. Oh, great. Anyway, she's come back a month later. I said, "Where the fuck have you been?" We had a fight. She threw an ashtray at me. Boom, did that. But I'm partially blind in that eye. Anyway.
Wow.
The next day, a week later, I've gone for an audition to be the Scarface villain in the James Bond Heineken campaign, and I got the job, and it was 80 grand. I said, "You can keep the tits." and she left, and I've never seen her again. But I used to be a dreadful party animal. I'm not anymore. I like to party. Yeah, everybody does, but I do it within reason, in moderation. And having the girls full time on my own has made me moderate that. And it brings you down to earth. And what's so important for me in film is a legacy. Because one great thing about movies, which that you can't say for other jobs, is that when you're dead and gone, they're still there.
Absolutely.
They are your legacy. They're immortalized forever. So, when they grow up and go, my old dad, that twat that died from smoking too much, he made that. So it's very important for me to make things to a high standard. The weird thing is with me, I play villains, but I'm not really interested in villain movies. I fell asleep at the premiere Mission Impossible and missed my bit completely. I do like a bit of, I like some of the superhero stuff, but they kind of go over my head. I love directing period dramas, human interest stories, real stories that make you think, that make you cry. I find history fascinating. And I'm developing a period drama called Iron Game, which is a 30-episode period drama set in the Crimean War. I've been developing it for years. I'm trying to get that off the ground. Give Them Wings is a true story. The war film was a true story. Well, based on true events. So that's where my real interest lies in telling great stories. But if you want to ask some more questions, all right, I just want to big up some of the actors that I've worked with recently on Give Them Wings, particularly. Katie Sheridan, amazing.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
Rachel Warren, the performance. Jonathan Hansler, amazing.
Yeah, we had Johnny on last week. He talked a bit. Now, we left the plot lines and so forth to yourself, but Johnny was on and he talked about his role within the film and working with you. And obviously, you and I and Johnny, we've known each other for years now, on and off. And
I directed Johnny 3, 4 times.
Same. He was in Hayfields with such a great guy.
Jacob Anderton. I don't know if you know Jacob. Do you know Jacob?
I think Jacob Anderton. He's Game of Thrones, right?
Oh, the performances he's done. Graham Saxon. But what happened is when we were auditioning for Give Them Wings, because Paul is severely disabled. He's got an incredible stutter. So he's like this, and to find someone that could really pull that off. And we were talking to a great guy, a lovely guy called Packy Lee, who plays,
Oh yeah, I know Packy. Yeah,
quite a
from
big role
Peaky Blinders.
in Peaky Blinders.
Mm-hmm.
But he's Northern Irish, and he was 10, 15 years older.
Yeah.
In the story, Paul's 25, 27. And kind of some of the people behind it financially said, look, you've got to get the name, you've got to do it. And I'd seen, I don't know how many, but it must have been 100, even maybe 150 actors to play Paul Hodgson. And
Mm-hmm.
this guy, Daniel Watson, walked in, and he just lit up the room. I'm spitting all over the camera here. And he just nailed it. And even during filming, I've always used the first take. I don't know how he does it. He just got it perfect. And he's an underscale. I mean, he's done a little bit of work and he's done some good stuff, and he's very funny, very clever. But this is kind of my Jamie Bell moment.
Yeah.
He discovered somebody incredible. He's incredible, and he's very young. And what he's done to this film, I mean, it's just a pleasure. Editing him. It's just everything. I mean, I'm just going, which take shall I use? It doesn't matter because every take's perfect. The other great thing is we work with a wonderful Toya. Toya plays
Toya Wilcox.
Toya plays his mother, and she goes through some terrible, this story's up and down. It's really sad. It's full of terrible lows and incredible highs.
Mm-hmm.
You're down in the dumps. I mean, Paul tries to take his own life. His mother has a stroke, all kinds of, and Toya's performance. Toya's lovely. She's the loveliest person you will ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
Takes direction really as well. She needs directing because she, I know what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Dan didn't need directing. I don't know why, but Toya does. But the moment you suggest something to Toya, she just gets it straight away. And Toya's diary, she could only give us a couple of days here, a couple of days there. She's so busy. She's still touring. And I've been to her house a couple of times and met her lovely husband, Robert Fripp. And she's just an absolute joy. And again, just editing her on screen. And another actor who plays Paul's father, Bill Fellows. Now, Paul's father in the story is a miserable git.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill Fellows does miserable git like nobody's ever done it before.
But Bill's such a nice guy too. He's such a great guy.
He's a miserable git in real life as well, but he's also very funny. But I've got some great. It's just, for me, it's the most important film I've ever made, and it's just I can't edit it without crying.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so,
yeah, I wanted to ask you, because you started out as an actor and done a bunch of films as an actor, and then you started into the directing, and I think probably around this about 10 or 12 years ago now, when you and I ran into each other, we done a couple of things together. Did you know that directing was something that you wanted to head towards, or is it something that just kind of happened? And now that it has either happened or orchestrated, whichever way that happened, do you feel more comfortable in front of the camera saying some stuff as an actor, or behind it?
Is because of the way I look. I mean, I can, put my specs on. I can maybe do a scientist, but I always get offered villain roles, which is great. Everyone loves a villain, and now I'm getting big villain roles. And if you can, super villain inspired at enormous expense, you pay me a lot of money. Now, Rendel was good money. I got paid not a huge amount, but it was much better than a lot of the films I've done.
Mm-hmm.
But directing is a higher calling. You are making that vision a reality. I'm not saying that actors don't do wonderful jobs, but it's a higher calling. I mean, not some of the acting in this, it's a very high calling, but higher calling than just being on set killing everybody all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can only take that so far.
Sure.
I've done all kinds of different villains, and I'm Russian villains, German officers, and whatever. It's great. And I enjoy every moment of every film I've done. I do. But making a movie taking it from the screenplay to the big screen, and acquiring that eye for detail that you need to, because
mm-hmm.
It's so important. People don't realize that when you make a movie, they don't notice the perfection. They notice the mistakes.
Oh, absolutely.
But they notice they don't really notice if it's right. But to get it right,
mm-hmm.
it's so hard. There's so many things that can go wrong. There's so many challenges. It doesn't matter how much you think it's going to cost. It's always going to cost more.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how you say it's only going to take 3 weeks. It will take 5. If you think it's not going to rain, it will rain. Everything always is
Murphy's Law,
every
right?
day. It's like climbing Mount Everest, blindfolded, naked, right, in a blizzard, backwards, right, on rollerblades. Right? That's what making a movie is like. It's people don't realize. You watch a movie and it kind of if it can go over your head in an hour or an hour and a half, 2 hours. You don't realize that 100 people have nearly killed themselves making it.
Absolutely.
And you know what was so lovely on this film is everybody went above and beyond. The actors, the producers, Ben Pickering, Mark Guthrie, our production designer Kelly too, who did production and costume, nearly killed herself. I mean, I run Tracy. I mean, the team, everyone, sound guy Philip, everybody just worked their bollocks off. You know, and sometimes you feel bad because you know that you're on a limited budget, and you know that if you don't get this in the can today, you can't come back tomorrow. See, when I'm working on these massive sets, like Mission Impossible, I get picked up at 6:30 in the morning in a limo, driven to my trailer, sit there eating all day long, go on set, you know, put my tongue in Tom Cruise's ear for 5 minutes, and then and you go home at 6. Whereas these, and you know, you're supposed to by law give an 11-hour turnaround, but sometimes you're on a set and you're desperate to try and get this in the can. You lose the location the next day, and you have to say to these guys, "Look, guys, do you mind working till 3 in the morning or not?" I mean, obviously not that extreme, but some days we did do illegally long days. You know.
Oh yeah.
We try and give them the turnaround in the morning, but there were occasions when we had to really go above and beyond, and I would have to make these kind of Mel Gibson type speeches, you know, like I'm on the front line.
Rally the troops.
Rallying the troops. Guys, look, we've got to get this in. But this is one of those films that could win an Oscar. It could win a BAFTA. It's one of those films that it's, you know, vampire movie, gangster movie, supervillain movies are never going to win those kind of awards.
Yeah.
This is one of those movies. Please God, touch wood. I've got my Chihuahua's wooden brush. Touch wood. It could do that, and the performances in it warrant the effort that everyone put in. It warrants some real recognition. So we will see, but you know, it's amazing, an amazing film.
Yeah, I mean, it looks amazing. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen clips and pictures and a few things that you've posted and so forth. And as I said, we spoke to Johnny as well, and yeah, it's an important story. That's, I think, the thing as well. It's something that should be told. You know what I mean? Superman doing whatever, who cares? Like, this is a story about things that people are actually going through, and as you say, this is the kind of movie that goes along for, you know, BAFTA, Oscar, Sundance, Tribeca, you know, the hard hitting, you know, top tier festivals.
If I don't screw the edit up. I mean, it's, you know, and the other thing is I started editing my own films about 10 years ago because I shot it. I know what I want. I know the right takes. I mean, I get other people to do bits and pieces, but I have to edit my own. And editing, people don't realize you edit, if you're lucky, 30 seconds a day, a minute a day of real. But we were very lucky on this because we did a rough assembly as we went along with a lovely guy. Hope Charlie might be watching. Charlie Pride literally just threw the scenes together as we were on set. So I came back with a really
like a rough assembly.
Really rough. But I mean, it's still taking me 3 months. I'm 3 months now. I've been editing, and I'm finished. We're 2.5 hours long, so I can probably lose half an hour. One of the things that's interesting as well, because you used to do test screening, so I will be sending the film to some of my industry people and some of the lead actors and the heads of department to get their opinion. Because when you're editing a film, you're in the middle of it. You're so immersed that it's sometimes quite hard to see the wood for the trees. Although you need to be in on it because you directed it, you also need to be able to step away from it and go, guys, is this any good? Because, you know, I'm so anally retentive about it. So I'm at the point now where I'm going to be the next. I mean, I will finish cutting the entire film in the next 3 days. Then I've got to go back and polish the audio, and we're going to do some sound mixes.
People don't quite understand just how important, if not maybe the most important part of any film, is the editing and the music. Those things tell you how to feel.
The score and the audio is 50% of the film.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the other thing is that it's got to be shot correctly. I mean, our DOP was just, and our gaffer, Ontero, just these guys, man. Why I love them. I'm working in Finland, and they whisper at each other in Finnish really quietly, and I don't understand what they're saying. So what they must be saying must be really complicated. So I thought, guys, these guys are genius. They speak a language that I can't comprehend, and they're really quiet. And then they make this. I mean, I'm a DOP. I'm an okay DOP, but this guy knocks me into the middle distance. He's just incredible.
I think
he's like the Picasso of cinematography. He paints with light. I mean, he takes quite a long time, which is also he didn't have a lot of crew, but he's like this, like, and then suddenly it's like, wow, and you go, hurry up, mate, what? And then you go,
Yeah, and then you look at the monitor and you go, okay, fair enough.
Just beautiful.
Yeah.
He is, but he's also a crazy motherfucker as well. And he likes, the Finnish. They like the Finnish. In Finland, they have quite a big problem with alcohol.
I'm really, really loving the Scandinavian stuff in general that's coming out at the moment. I think it's really good.
Say again?
Just in general, the Scandinavian stuff that's coming out, I think, is really good just across the board, both in technicality, the way it's shot, the way it's, the shooting of it, and also the plots as well. And also, to go on to DOPs like Deakins. Roger Deakins is one of my favorites. But I want to go back to something you said earlier, which is completely true, and so on the point is, people don't realize, right? They see whoever, Brad Pitt on a red carpet. What they don't see is the last 3 months of a world press junket he's just been doing, answering the same questions 25 times a day. And 4 months before that, standing on a hill somewhere at 4 o'clock in the morning, getting pummeled by the fucking rain. They see him on a red carpet and they think, oh, that's so glamorous. And secondary, we'll just use what you're about to do is try and make the wheelchair fly. Now, for filmmakers out there, we know.
Say that.
Spoiler! Yeah. We know that you and I and filmmakers like us, we know how that happens, how that works, and how long it takes and how much it costs. What the thing is, though, is people who are not in the film game, they turn on Marvel, they turn on Sherlock Holmes, they turn on whatever it is, and they see such a thing being done, and they see it being done to the best ability, and that is the common ground. Right? So they see your scene then, or any scene, and maybe it's not done to the same level as Marvel, but they go, oh, that's shit. It's not shit. What the truth is we don't have $200 million and a fucking team of editors to do this one little thing. Yeah, our one editor is doing everything.
I mean, Tero is probably going to help me with the grade because it's DOP, but yeah, they don't realise what effort goes into it.
Yeah.
People think this is glamorous. This is the most unglamorous business in the world.
Yeah, but they're holding really independent film.
I mean, not taking away from all. Obviously, we're all championing the key workers now, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, if I actually ever get a bloody Oscar or a BAFTA, I'll probably crawl up to the podium and keel over and die when I get there because it's really fucking hard. I mean, the hours.
It's so hard,
crazy. Yeah. It's really, really hard, and I do think. I mean, a lot of people saying, "Oh, we don't care about celebrity anymore." We are here to entertain the world. We are here for everybody to escape. If your life is mundane, if you've got problems, you've got worries, you can sit down and we'll take you into a magical world where you can immerse yourself and get away from your real life and have fun. We create escapism, which is great. I think very important.
I totally do as well.
Health. I don't know about you. I've had some lows during this lockdown, not as badly as many people. I've also had a week where I thought I had symptoms, but that was probably just a massive hangover. And what's been really upsetting me about this whole thing is there's a lot of conspiracy theories. There's a lot of things going around. There's something's not right. I'm not going to go into too much detail.
Mm-hmm.
This is a film blog. But what's really upset me is you see all these elderly people and they're walking around with masks and everyone's avoiding each other and they're frightened of each other. And, so I think it's been very important during this lockdown time for people to have an escape route. And so, I mean, I've binge watched a Spanish series called Money Heist.
Yeah, it's good, right?
It's really great, and I also watched
the dubbing actors are shit though.
The what?
The dubbing actors, the actors in the show are great.
No, the dubbing actors are shit. Yeah, I watched it in Spanish.
Oh, okay. I watched it with the dubbing in English, and it's like there'll be a scene, right? Because the Spanish actors in the show are really good, right? But there'll be something really crazy, like some hostage will try and get away, and the actors will be given the socks as you should, and then the dubbing goes, "Oh, hey, can you stop? Don't do that." And you're like, really? Are you fucking?
Like that, unbearable. So I go back to Spanish.
Yeah.
And it's weird because the dubbing actors have had a hard job because there's a lot more syllables in Spanish.
Yeah.
And so when you're reading the subtitles, when you're watching in English, they're saying something completely different because they're getting the nearest thing that matches. Make no mistake, when I did the time-coded, I can't remember the name, what you actually call it now, the time-coded transcript of the actual, all the dialogue in the film, because when you do a movie, you have to do a transcript at the end with a time code.
Mm-hmm.
So not just what's said in the screenplay, what is actually said in the film what millisecond it starts at and what millisecond it finishes at. So that, I mean, I think 11 was dubbed into 27 different languages. So you've got to remember that it's a very difficult thing to dub it into different languages and make the same message come across in the same amount of syllables. So it was crap, but it wasn't that crap because I know how hard it is, and that's one of the hardest things you could possibly do. I also binge watched Westworld.
Yeah.
I've just started the new Afterlife, which I'm slightly struggling with actually, but it's some funny moments.
Yeah.
But I think what I'm saying is cinema, TV it's been probably a savior for a lot of people here. So you could, again, because I'm lucky, but a lot of people really are locked away. What's been very hard for me is my girls. They can't go and see their friends. They've been locked up for 7 weeks now.
Yeah.
2 little girls, 11 and 12, they can't go anywhere. And the fact that I haven't killed them and they haven't killed each other is a miracle. I mean, there's been a couple of times when I go in the bedroom and they're scratching each other's eyes out. I'm like, oh, stop it! But it's, so it's a great escapism.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I mean, what I want to say is cause probably a lot of the people, if there are, I don't know how many people are watching. Can you see how many people are on?
We do indeed, yeah. There's quite a few, actually. And I want to just let people know, that's a nice little transient, that we are going out live on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, YouTube, and all of them basically. So do drop your comments, your questions in the chat section of whichever player you're watching in, and I'll get your questions into Sean. Buddy, I can't believe it's almost an hour. We've been talking. Well, we've been chatting for ages. I could chat to you for hours.
I can see myself now. There we are.
There you go. But yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think it's going to be, it is difficult. We obviously, some people have had it really hard, and some people, God bless them, have lost loved ones. So I don't for a second try and equate to that. But it is difficult, I think, for everyone, especially maybe like your girls who are younger and maybe can't understand as well as we can, or doesn't have something to sit down and build toward, whether that's a job or a career or whatever it is. And so for us in the creative arts, I think it's not the worst thing in the world, because we can do stuff like this, and we can get to writing and get to working on other projects. But I'm curious about what you think the climate of the financial realm's going to look like when we come out of this. And by financial, I mean in our respect, not economically as a globe, but I mean, do you think the investors who we have either deals with or would be going to will either, because I think it'll be one of two things. They're either going to be wanting to throw their money into projects, not willy-nilly, of course they'll still do their due diligence, but they're going to want to invest, or they're going to want to hold on tight to it and invest in nothing.
Well, this is weird. You say, as a friend of mine, Simon Cox, did Invasion Planet Earth, that launched a campaign. I mean, a real tenacious guy. Also, I want to do a little big up to him. I want to do a big up to a guy called Howard Ford. Do you know Howard? Howard did Never Let Go.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Venture Boys.
Lovely man. Recently did Adventures Boy. I don't know if you saw Never Let Go.
I did, yeah.
Amazing actress. Angela Dixon. They shot that far. It was pennies.
Yeah.
It looks like Hollywood. They went to Morocco and did this crazy shit. He's one of the most talented filmmakers I know. Also, a big up to Mark Zammit as well for finally getting Homeless Ashes.
Homeless Ashes, yeah.
I found time to watch it recently, actually, and it was a difficult watch. Beautifully shot. The DOP, Richard Oakes, fucking amazing. Great.
Yeah, Richard's brilliant. Yeah, he's really good.
DOP. He hates me. I don't know why, but I love him. A lot of people hate me because I'm an arsehole. I actually watched it. It was a very difficult watch, not because it wasn't good. It was just
it's just one of those hard, heavy watches. Yeah.
But it's it's about independent film. I really genuinely think the blockbuster and the big studios are in trouble.
So do I.
If they're only going to be, they're the cinema, I don't know. It could be 6 months, it could be 18 months, it could be a couple of years, I don't know. And I also don't know what the truth is, what's really happening with this virus, because patient zero and the curve flattening and all that is all a bit odd, because if one person started it, then one more person can start it. So I'm very, very, so nobody really knows what's going to happen over the next few months. So I really think that content is king. I think that if you can make your films, because nowadays you've got wonderful cameras, you've got Epics, you've got Alexas, you can get cameras and you can make things look super high production value for very little money. So if you understand that the independent film model is probably 100K and below realistically,
Yeah.
you can make film for that kind of money, and there's other leaps up, but as an independent filmmaker, then you've got a chance of making your money back, and you can get them out on all those platforms. You make sure you don't get ripped off by your distributor. You make sure that if you need one of the things about doing it yourself, you've got to be able to let people know your films are out there. And unfortunately, because of Mark Zuckerberg, who limits you to 5,000 friends, luckily I've got a fan page, quite a big following, so I can reach quite a few people. But that's a difficult thing. But I think content will be king, especially in the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
Because nothing's being made. So if you've got something in the can, like I'm so lucky that we have, or we're so lucky that we have, I think because it's all moved into the living room, people are always going to want to be entertained. As long as the big broadcasters and providers like the Netflixes and Amazons and Sky and are supporting us and helping us get our stuff to market, they need content. We need a route to market. So I think the film industry, although it's changed, is in pretty good shape. And I think it's a sound investment, as long as you have a duty of care to your investors to not rip them off, because a lot of people rip them off and pocket the money and as long as you have a duty of care to investors, you keep your budget as low as possible. You make sure that everyone that works for you gets paid. There's so many people in this business that try and get you to work for nothing. Oh, please help me with my film. It's like, guys, I can't go to the supermarket. I'll give you an IMDb credit. I can't eat an IMDb credit. I need money. So as long as everyone looks after each other, it's important that even if it's minimum wage, as long as you get paid for what you do, you honour everybody. I mean, I think as far as I know, on Give Them Wings, pretty much everybody's been paid now, which is difficult. I had to say, well, I'll get paid later. Let's make sure everyone else gets paid. Very important. So we've all got to support each other financially and not expect, because you know what it's like. Everyone's trying to get you to do a favour and do it for nothing. Because it's a film, it's glamorous. It's not. It's a business. We're actors. We're filmmakers. We need to eat. We need to pay our rent. So it's important that everyone supports everybody else. And if we can, one thing that's come out of Corona, I didn't know all my neighbours. I know them all now. We go and clap on the Thursday night. I meet everybody now. I'm helping them. I get stuff for them. I get stuff for the guys over there. Even when you're 2 meters apart from someone in the supermarket, I always make a joke. I go, hold your breath. I've got bat flu, or some silly joke. And people talk now that didn't used to talk. So I think it's brought the world together, and I think it's bringing the film community together as well. People realise. Also, I'm seeing a lot of bad in people. A lot of people who have different opinions online are arguing. Oh, it's not 5G. Oh, it's not this. Guys, debate, not hate.
Yeah.
Let's all talk about what we think it might be. None of us as politicians, although I was actually asked to join the Labour Party. Can you imagine me? Obviously, Boris Johnson. But I've actually 4 times I've been asked by different Labour MPs to come and join because I talk so much crap so quickly. But might be good to get a dodgy villain infiltrate the government.
Well,
but,
another one? Join the fucking queue.
But it's about supporting each other. About I said an awful lot of hate because people are scared. They're unsure. They don't know what's happening. So everyone's asking questions, and they all want their answers to be the right answers, and nobody really knows. So there's an awful lot of hate. I mean, we've got this Gil and I do this support group and trying to mediate that and stop people killing each other on it. It's quite difficult. So we're going to come out of this. Lockdown is going to be lifted in the next 10 days to 2 weeks. We're going to start to creep back. There's a lot of things that people are worried about, like compulsory vaccinations and stuff. There's all kinds of conspiracy, but let's all just hope it's a virus that goes away. An interesting thing, have you met Lorenzo in Italy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Lorenzo, he's over here, and they're about 2 weeks, maybe even a month ahead of us.
Yeah.
And he said, what's happening over there? This appears to be a consensus right across, that the virus is just weakening. It's not, as people are catching it, it's not as deadly, it's not as strong. So it feels like it's just
like fizzling out.
It's going to fizzle out. I hope so. I'm a very physical person. I like to hug people. I like to put my tongue in movie moguls' ears. I like to, you and I were going to do a big party in Cannes this year.
I know. We should be, well, not just quite yet, but we'd be almost getting ready. I think few more days.
Now, I was doing
more
the
days.
lovely David Martinez and Elliot Grove. We were doing the rain darts. We did one last year, which was great fun.
That was good.
Forward to that. We were going to be doing that. So, I just wanted to get back to normal. I want to start hugging people. I want to drink too much and fall over in a heap. And get back to, one thing is...
The new normal.
You know what it's like on movie sets? People are always hugging each other, Even that's not going to be possible for a while. It's a very different world that we live in. I just hope that it can get back to normal. I hope we can all get to the truth, because there's a lot of questions that are unanswered now. There's a lot of figures that don't add up, and hospitals are empty, doctors and nurses that are being laid off when we're supposed to be in the middle of a pandemic. All kinds of strange stuff that needs answers. I think with conspiracy theories, I think it's a bit too early. Once this is over, or once this appears to be over, there's going to be an awful lot of questions asked, and I think that's the time for conspiracy. I think now it's a time for unity, for getting through it and getting out the other side, and looking after each other, looking after each other's health and each other's mental well-being. It's very important that because I've got people online that are freaking out, so I'm calling them up. All right, man. I've had a couple of days when I've had a couple of dark. I thought I had it about a couple of weeks ago. I felt really shit, so I started necking pints of vitamin C and drinking, because there's this drug called hydroxychloroquine. I can't even say it. It's got quinine in it, hydroxychloroquine, and the main ingredients quinine, which is in gin and tonic. So I'm necking a bottle of gin and tonic a day. But I don't know what I
Doctor's recommendations.
Yeah. Don't worry about medicine. Just drink tea and tea. But it's look after your health, guys. Plenty of vitamin C, vitamin A. Look after your immune system. Exercise. Look after each other. Try and keep as healthy as you can, and keep creating. And I thought I'd be super creative during this time, but because you're so preoccupied with the worry of what's going on, you're supposed to be editing, and you get sucked into a conversation on Facebook, and you suddenly find yourself
down the rabbit hole.
You're arguing about Bill Gates or 5G or which drug you should be taking or vaccines, and I've tried to not do that. I mean, I have an hour, I rant for an hour a day, so stay creative. We're nearly through it now, so but film is a beautiful medium. Film is escapism, so let's make things to help people escape, and let's just and enjoy life. And I think we're nearly done now, mate. I'm gonna
absolutely, my friend. To paraphrase,
what you shouldn't do is smoke either. Okay.
To paraphrase Brad Pitt on your last point on his acceptance speech for, I think it was the SAG-AFTRA, I'm not sure. He says that his profession, i.e., what we do, is escapism, and he believes it to be a very worthy something to do, and I totally agree with him. And on that, Sean, as you say, we're over the hour. I can't believe I could talk to you for hours, buddy. But I want to ask you one last question, and I've been asking all of our guests for the most part. When this corona is all over, whenever that is, and we're all back out and we're at the new normal, because that's the thing. I don't think we're going to go. People's always going to go, I want to get back to normality. There is no going back. It's going forward. And I hope that when we go to the new normality, whatever that is, that this.
I think when we find out the truth, we'll go back to normality.
Yeah. But this,
that will decide what the normality is. But yeah, go on.
The sense of camaraderie that people seem to have, I hope that that's not lost. But the question is, when it all does go back to normal, when you're safely allowed to go outside and your girls can go outside and go back to their friends and so on, what is it that you're looking forward to? And that can be anything. It could be go back to work. It could be a coffee.
Getting twatted with my mate. I just want to go out,
Fair enough.
See my friends, have a drink, hug a few people. I want to make movies. I just want us to be together. I want to go to premieres. We love premieres. We love
they're good fun,
pretending we're important on the red carpet. I just want to. I've got quite a lot of various bits of Mediterranean in me. That sounds a bit rude, doesn't it? So I'm a very touchy film. I've got Italian, a bit of Spanish, a bit of Welsh. I'm a touchy-feely person, so I just want us to go back to. I want to party with my friends. I want us to. But I think what we have learned is to care more about each other, to have each other's backs. People that I've fallen out with, I've made videos of people there's probably a half dozen people I've fallen out with in half a century and a bit more I've been on this planet. And I've made them all little videos. Go, guys, I think you're a twat, but I love you. And I've sent them all out, little videos, say, listen, guys, when this is all over, whatever differences we had, let's put them behind us. Let's move forward, be creative together, and look after fellow man. I mean, what's happened with the planet, just very quickly to finish up, is, you know, we've had like deers walking around shopping centres, and there's a goose.
Here, not too far from me.
Yeah.
And Barking, East London.
In York train station, they've got a goose that's living in the middle of the station that's laying heads. You know,
That's awesome.
the world is clean. I'm getting a lot more bird shit on my Jag, which is slightly annoying. There's so many birds now that weren't there before. Like every morning, my car's covered in bird shit.
The canals in Venice are completely clear again.
I know, it's
beautiful.
amazing. And it's been a really good respite for the planet. You know, not that it's been good for a lot of things, and hopefully the economy come back. Hopefully, and you know, whatever we do say about the governments or government, is the fact is that people are getting 8% of their wages, a lot of them, and they have, to a degree, you know, people are hopefully, I mean, there are some people who are in real shit, but hopefully, you know, people have got enough to eat, they've got enough to get through. So, you know, however hard you do knock them, and I'm really not fond of a couple of them now, I won't even go into people like Matt Handoncock and people like that. But the fact that some of the figures are being cooked, but the fact is, a lot of people are getting furloughed and they're being paid 8% of their wages and stuff. So hopefully it won't be too bad. When we get back to normal, just like let's continue to be nice to each other.
Absolutely.
Let's not lose what we may have gained from this. And all the people that are falling out and arguing, listen to each other. Don't always be on broadcast. Put your radio to receive. You cannot learn if you're talking. You can only learn by listening. So listen. Admit your faults, admit when you're wrong, take it on the chin. I've made loads of mistakes. You get people so belligerent, or I'm right. You're not always right. Listen, listen to each other. Let other people's opinions in, and, you know, just be nice. But if you're a villain, carry on killing people. But if you're not, you know, I'm not really a villain. I'm a single mother. So it's,
Buddy,
be real.
You're a big softie, really.
And you know, also a big up to Jay Mathewson as well, because he's tenacious. I have to keep correcting his spelling.
Who's that guy?
He's a bit dyslexic.
A bit.
But what's great about Jason is he's always trying. He's always working hard to bring creative stuff together. So it's a big thank you to you for working with the industry. A big thank also to Catherine.
Oh, the wonderful Catherine Lynn Scott. Absolutely.
Wonderful publicist who helped both myself and Jason and really champions independent film and helps people along the way. A huge big up to everyone I've ever worked with. To my buddy Roy Rivet, who's helped with the films, and Gail, and all the people that have put money into the movie and the last movie. Thank you so much for that, and for believing in me and believing in all our actors. And thank you to everyone that's worked very hard under me and above me and around me. A big thank you. I'm gonna go. I might even open a glass of wine now to celebrate. Is it Sunday?
But
What day is it?
It's Wednesday, is it? Tuesday? I don't even know anymore.
Tuesday.
It's
I'm not allowed-
5 o'clock somewhere.
Start drinking.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. But I just wanted to say, before we go, thank you so much to you for coming on. Also for being an advocate of independent cinema. I mean, we've known each other now better part of 10 years, I'd say. And we've done all sorts of mad, crazy stuff together. But you've always supported both the GMAs and various different events and other people's stuff as well. And also thanks to everyone out there who's not in the game for consuming that content and for demanding diversity, because without you we wouldn't have a facet to make it, and for demanding diversity and different faces, different colors of faces, different shapes of faces, and championing new talent. Exactly, because if you don't consume it and demand it, then we don't have a place to make it. So thank you to you.
No need for us to do it. Yes, one last thing I want to say, just back to our profession, is that because content is now king, because there's this low budget, enigma that we have, and the route to market that we have, that we can champion new talent. You used to, if you didn't have Tom Cruise in it or Brad Pitt, you couldn't get it made. But now it's all about bringing new talent out, championing new people, bringing new people up, so that they get a shot at it as well. So
absolutely,
before Kevin Spacey got demonized and did whatever he did, he used to. I knew Kevin because I got a huge role in House of Cards. It was a life-changing role. I couldn't get my visa in time, But he said to me on the phone once, he said, look, if you're lucky enough to get up to the top, he said, make sure you send the elevator back down.
Yeah.
I'll end on that.
Absolutely. Buddy, thank you so very much. It's been an absolute
Big
pleasure.
love.
Everyone out there.
Open a bottle of red now.
Nice. Guys, get the podcast. It's now live everywhere. Apple, iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, all those places. And the video element, so this is also live and available on YouTube. Sean's episode will be number 9 in the series, and that'll be coming to you in the coming weeks. And as I said, the first 1 through 5 is available right now. Sean, buddy, you've been an absolute superstar as always. Thank you for everything, and hopefully we'll see each other very soon physically for one of those boxes of red wine. Not a bottle or a glass, but a box.
Yeah, a box. Okay. See you, Dave. Love you, brother.
Buddy, love you too. Take care, man. All right.
You're still there. You can still see me.